1, ignition.
But you know about this life, yeah. Just relax, baby, get high, yeah. You're on your way to the best night ever. No top on it, no top, out with the stars.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? From First Week Fantasy, I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones, the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. And today we are joined by Andrew Richard. He is a four-time fantasy football loser who is famous for doing punishments for losing and being hilariously bad at fantasy. He's also known for his terrible trades and insane fantasy luck. He has an up-and-coming match versus Bobby in Week 6 where he'll probably lose by 50. Andrew Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you're very known getting roasted by your fantasy league. How do you think you'll do getting roasted by Hot Sauce?
Well, yeah, you're right. I do get roasted, but I'm pretty good with hot food. I'm interested to see what questions you have. I've been watching the show for a while, and yeah, let's just dive into it. I'm ready for this. It's not bad. Easy.
So again, you're known for losing at fantasy football, a game where you can be the owner of your own football team. What makes you the worst owner?
Well, the fact that I'm a bad owner. Every year, starting with our first year, everybody, drafts their dream team, the best guys available. And the last 4 years, it just hasn't been my team. Part of it is being unlucky, and part of it is just being a bad owner with bad trades and just selling my soul to the devil, apparently, because nothing I can do will make me to that tip top. On top of the mountaintop of fantasy. I know Thomas and Jacob and Cam have been there before, and it's somewhere, everyone in the league wants to be at.
Over the years, you've done some crazy punishment. What was the worst one, and what was the easiest one to do?
Ooh, worst one? Dang, well, if I'm being honest, the worst one was probably the sex blow-up doll in the restaurant in Vegas. That one was just, even though it was only an hour, it was just, you have people staring at you, you have to order twice, and you get all these questions, and also didn't help while it was happening. Connor and Nick were over on the other side there telling innocent bystanders, hey, look at that creep over there, or hey, look, that guy's, going on a date with sex blow-up doll. So that one's probably the most embarrassing and the worst one. The easiest one I've had is probably skydiving. I did do something like this for my punishment, but again, hot sauce was fine for me back then. But skydiving I wanted to do since I was a little kid, so that one was definitely the easiest. I would do that one probably again.
So from my understanding, you do a redraft every year, give or take 4 keepers from everyone. What makes you want to keep drafting the same players every year?
Yeah, I do have a habit of doing that. Yeah, just, I don't know, I see them come off the draft board and they fall to me, and they're too good to pass up. I know I've had Mike Evans a lot, and this is my second year with Trevor Sylvia, so I'm just hoping that they'll end up being better than they are and not stink, but just sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Let's go.
One thing that's really riveting is that you can trade players. What goes through someone's mind when you trade David Johnson and Todd Gurley for first and second round picks, and they suck afterwards?
Well, it went through my mind that they were going to be good when I got them, and it turns out they weren't. I wasn't really invested that much into fantasy back then as I am now. Like right now, you do your research and stuff, and you find out things about the players, but then back then, you see a name, his history, you're like, okay, I gotta have him. So Todd Gurley with that big year, and David Johnson with that big year, I wanted that same big year. But turns out they turned 27, 26 years old, and they fell off the face of the earth. So yeah, bad trades on my part.
So on the show, we like to do a segment called Explain That Gram, where we get onto a guest's Instagram and we look through it with no context. So let's do it, shall we? Awesome. All right, let's look here. What is going on here? How about this one with the Augusta National in this cute outfit?
Yeah, that one was my punishment last year. Yeah, Michael has had a great idea of not only with the photos I took, he would put backgrounds on all of them to make them look more authentic, and that one ended up being my favorite one.
So every year you lose, you do a punishment. What goes into choosing the right punishment so it's too embarrassing but not too harsh?
Yeah, choosing a punishment is actually not really, well, I'm not gonna say it's hard, but it's also like you have to put some thought into it. Like over the years, there have been some really good punishments submitted. I think, Waffle House 24 hours is always a good one. I think a lot of people have had a couple ones like eat a whole pizza on live Instagram, or just people just are getting really, really good at their punishments. And I think what goes into it is you hear about other ones, you get suggestions, and when one pops out to you, you want to see someone do it, but you also don't want to ruin their life at the same time. So that's really all that goes into it.
So your fantasy league is a group of really great guys that like to have fun and also really love fantasy football. How does the dynamic of everyone kind of fit into the group?
Yeah, everyone in the league is, an awesome gentleman. They make this league fun a lot, and it's really, really crazy that we've all stayed together this long, and it's only been 4 short years. But the end goal is to keep this league together for a long time. And they all bring their humor, they all bring their shit talking, they all bring their terrible trades to everyone, and they make you want to stay in this league like forever. And I know there was a time when I wanted to leave, but I had to stay because this group of guys are really, really awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better league.
All right, Andrew, this is the last dab. They call it that because you're supposed to put a dab on the last wing. You don't have to if you don't want to. Cheers. Final question. You have a matchup against Bobby this week. In 1 minute, can you go through the matchup and predict every player's final score for us?
Okay, I'll do it for you. Wow, that is really, really hot. Okay, so I played Bobby this week. All right, Bobby has Josh Allen. He'll get 30. Cooper Rush playing Philadelphia. He may get 10 or 15. Leonard Fournette is playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. He'll get 15. I have A.J. Brown and Stephon Diggs getting 15 each. I had Tyler Higbee getting a nice 4 points. I have Gabe Davis getting 20, and Justin Tucker 10, and his Bills defense only 5. This week I have Matthew Stafford. I think he'll get 10 points like he always does. I have Trevor Sylvia. He got 18 last time against Colts. I'll give him 12. Austin Eckler will have 30 because it's Austin Eckler. Christian McCaffrey will have a garbage time touchdown, so that's another 20. Mike Evans will get 30 against Steelers. Dallas Goedert will get a nice easy 10. Devin Singletary is going to go off in the Chiefs game. Hopefully Josh Allen dumps him off a few passes. And then Atlanta kicker Younghoe Koo, he's going to get 20 points, I think. And then my defense will get a split 10. So with that matchup, I think my numbers don't add up. But I still think Bobby will win by far, even though I just gave myself more points than his team.
Well done, Andrew. 6 sauces up, 6 sauces down. You completed the gauntlet of the challenge of the hot one. There's nothing left to roll out but the red carpet for you. This camera, and this camera. Let the people know what you've got going on in your life.
Let's go to this camera. Tune into fantasy this week. We got some great matchups. I played Bobby this week, hoping for a good high-scoring matchup. Hopefully in my favor, and honestly, it'll probably be in Bobby's favor. I hope everybody's enjoying the season well so far. And, let's keep this boat rocking. And, let's get this show on the road. And happy fantasy, fellas. What is up, Best Night Ever League? This is Andrew here, coming at you with another recap. We are going to recap Week 5 matchups. This was a pretty insane week. A lot of blowouts, and me and Thomas had a close game, so we'll get into those. Let's start with Connor and Cam. Connor's team played pretty standard. He's normally around that 150 range, and Cam's team didn't play at a standard. Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts are going to carry Connor to pretty far in the playoffs. Just the two those two combo quarterbacks with their rushing TDs and yards is just going to be really good. Jamal Williams although he had 15 carries, didn't get a whole lot of production against that Patriots defense. Derrick Henry getting Derrick Henry numbers with 28 carries. Holy cow. And those nice little 2 receptions there for him. The DeAndre Hopkins fill in. Hollywood Brown getting you a touchdown and 8 receptions. CeeDee Lamb didn't really do anything. 5 catches, 553 yards. And Travis Kelce getting 25 yards, but 4 touchdowns. Like, that's just insane. And then Chris Godwin getting a nice 61. And then your kicker and defense combined for 22. Cam's quarterbacks didn't help him out. Those numbers look like they're be quarterbacks on my team, but they combined for around 20 points. His running backs did actually surprisingly really good. Stevenson getting you 161 yards and Kamara getting you 103 and 91, so almost 200 total yards. Your receivers didn't find the end zone, but got like 50 and 74 yards respectively. TJ Hawkinson, after that 35-point game, just goose egg there for him. Joe Mixon getting you a nice 88 yards total, but that's pretty much it. And then your defense helping you out there with 15. But yeah, this was a matchup. I did expect Connor to win. I just like his roster a little bit better. 163 points is a good number for him. And Cam falls to 4-1, and Connor moves up to 4-1. Let's move on to the next matchup. We have Michael and Jacob. Jacob ended up winning by a little over 40. And it looks like his quarterbacks played amazing. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes combined for 52 points respectively. Nick Chubb, RB1 this year, I believe, and getting a nice 28.4 points, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miles Sanders, who's had a quiet good year, and yet he told fantasy managers not to draft him this year, so I think that's interesting. Wide receiver 1, Justin Jefferson, getting you 27 points. That's really good. Jalen Waddle, he's just not going to be as good without Tua, so a 3.5 bagger for him. And I know Fairmouth got injured in that game. Pittman, just after that first game, hasn't really got back to his former self after that small injury. And your kicker defense getting a nice 9 points. Michael underperformed. His quarterbacks, again, those are like Andrew quarterback numbers. So Russell Wilson, just with that injury, he just hasn't been throwing the ball good and not playing good. Maybe the surgery will help him out. Aaron Rodgers getting you 15. I mean, that's just not a standard Aaron Rodgers game. I think he'll be better going forward. Your running backs also performed well. You got 25 from Dalvin Cook, and you got 18 from Barkley. Barkley's having a phenomenal season, and Dalvin Cook finally found his breakout game. Jerry Jeudy, again, with Russ not playing as well, Jerry Jeudy's going to feel that effect. DK Metcalf surprisingly having a good year with Geno Smith. That fumble loss really didn't help him out, but a nice touchdown, 88 yards there. Darren Waller did get hurt in that Monday night game, so that was also a bummer. Hines also got hurt, so just a rough week for Michael, and then your kicker and defense combined for 10. A lot of injuries affected this. I wouldn't even consider Russell Wilson's injury affecting this. So, and I'm pretty sure Barkley came out for a little bit in that game as well. So, bummer of a week for Michael, but congrats to Jacob for getting the win. He now goes to 3-2. Michael falls to 2-3. Then we get to the highest scoring matchup. We have Bobby and Finley. Bobby, surprisingly with how high scoring this was, still won by 20. He has QB1. My prediction this year that he would be outside QB5 just is not adding up. Cooper Rush didn't have the best game against the Rams, but he doesn't have to because the Rams just suck. But when you have Leonard Fournette getting you 30 and Josh Allen getting you 40, I mean, you can have a Cooper Rush in your lineup. Yeah, Leonard Fournette finding the end zone twice and getting 10 receptions. Pretty crazy. Aaron Jones having a lackluster game with only 63 yards. I feel like he needs to get the ball more on the Packers offense. Devontae Adams had that big game. I think his biggest highlight of the game was shoving down that camera person or whatever, and the camera person filing charges against him. So now you know officially that Devontae Adams is a Raider. 2 TDs from him, 124 yards, nice little 27.9-point game. And Diggs, that's just a standard week for Diggs, 8 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Tyler Higbee, 7 receptions, 46 yards. You can't get much better with that tight end at the tight end position. A.J. Brown having a lackluster game with only 32 points. And then Justin Tucker went berserk, and your defense is the Bills' defense, combining for 26 respectively. They put him at 170, which is I believe the high score this week. Finley's quarterback's playing pretty good. Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins getting you 21-17. You can't, or I guess 18 pretty much. I mean, you can't ask for anything better out of those two. Those are pretty good performances. Brees Hall finally breaking out. I was not high on this guy in the draft. Other people were, which kind of shocked me, but now I see why. He's a tremendously good athlete. 2 receptions for 100 yards and then almost 100 yards rushing. Crazy. And I guess this made up for it, having Chase Edmonds get you pretty much 0 points. That Dolphins offense is just slacking without Tua. Tyreek Hill was part of that problem. Deebo, surprisingly, finding the end zone. If he didn't find the end zone, this would have been his worst game of the season. I think it still is his worst game of the season. But he'll be better. Mark Andrews, again, tight end, old reliable tight end, getting a nice 89 yards and a touchdown. Curtis Samuel, again, consistent 62 yards, 6 catches, and your kicker. And the Dallas Cowboy defense played amazing, getting 23 points against the terrible Rams. Rams are not looking pretty good this year. Philly falls to 1-4, and Bobby goes to 4-1. I think Bobby and Connor are now, they consider themselves, and I would consider them the heavy favorites going forward. Again, anything can happen, but yeah, we now have 2 and 4 teams who can easily go on far. And here was the miserable matchup between myself and Thomas. Yeah, both our teams just played terrible. I feel bad that I have to say that my team won, because my quarterback's getting me 18 points. I mean, again, this is typical Andrew quarterbacks. I mean, Matthew Stafford has been playing terrible this year, and Trevor Lawrence just can't hold on to the football. I think the last 2 weeks, my quarterbacks have combined like 7 fumbles, 6 fumbles lost, and then 5 interceptions. So that's pretty crazy. Austin Eckler had a wonderful game. He's my best player and will forever be. 36.9. Christian McCaffrey getting another garbage time touchdown. I'll continue to rely on those. Mike Evans getting 81 yards, solid 10 points. Christian Kirk having his worst game as a Jaguar. Hopefully he'll pick up the production after his hot start. Dallas Goedert getting a nice 95, 8 yards, or 8 receptions, 95 yards. Melvin Gordon ended up getting the production and the yardage, but just couldn't find the end zone. Again, they want to pass it when they only have 1 yard to gain. I just don't know if Russell has PTSD from the Super Bowl. Koo getting me only 0 points. That's not really ideal. He normally is, I think, a little bit better than that. Yeah, he's had like 2 12-point weeks and an 18-point week. So, and he's number 6 kicker. So that 0-point week was kind of shocking. And then 9 points from the Tampa Bay defense. Thomas, however, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray. I mean, I got super lucky. I don't think those 2 quarterbacks will ever score that low again the rest of the year unless they get injured. So I was lucky on my part. James Robinson only getting 4.9 points. The Jacksonville Jaguars are so weird. As soon as you think they've figured it out, they just go back to being the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, God hates the Jags. And then Cooper Kupp, even though I know you just traded for him to get 2 first-round picks, nice little send-off game, getting 25 points. Mike Williams getting you a nice 21 there, 134 yards. He will continue to be really good as long as Keenan Allen's out there. And Zach Ertz, I mean, you can't ask more out of a tight end, getting 6 receptions of 48 yards. That's just the tight end position. And then your defense doing pretty good. T. Higgins getting 0 and J.K. Dobbins only getting 4. This was the circumstance at the Sunday night game, I believe it was. Maybe it was the Monday night game. Thomas had like an 85% chance to win, but to only get 13 points between those 2 guys, and the fact that T. Higgins re-injured himself and J.K. Dobbins just didn't do anything more than getting 10 carries and 2 receptions is just crazy to me. So, yeah, Thomas, I'm very sorry I have to call this a win, but a win is a win. Thomas falls to 2 and 3, and I go up 3-2. So that was this matchup. We can now look at the standings right here. Points forced-wise, Bobby and Connor remain at the top, and they'll probably stay up there the rest of the season, I think. Jacob and myself fell in the 3 and 4 position. I think I'm starting to become the new Michael, with my points forced being second worst, but somehow I'm 3 and 2. I'm just playing guys on terrible weeks. Michael getting Dalvin Cook, Aaron Rodgers, and Cooper Kupp, I think, will be a lot better than his record. So he'll do a last push for the playoffs. That was a huge trades for him. And then Thomas giving away Cooper Kupp, I think that'll hinder his chances at winning this year. We'll see what he does with the rest of his roster. And Finley and Cam fall to 4 and 1. I've been in that position before, and heck, I'll probably be in that position in 3 weeks. It just is what it is. Now we'll get into some week 6 projections. Let's start down here. Michael plays Connor, I think this is Michael's best chance at beating Connor this week. But after all of his trades, I think he has favorable matchups. It's all about Russ. I think if Russ plays good, I think Michael wins. If Russ plays bad, I don't think he wins. I like all of his player matchups. Although Cooper Kupp is questionable, that's interesting. And he has the Taysom Hill at tight end, so we'll see if he has another 36 point game. So we'll see how that does. Connor's team is still really, really deep. He's getting back Jonathan Taylor. He now has another RB1 and Kenneth Walker the third after Rashard Penny went down. And I think he has, Jamal Williams on a bye. And his kicker, I believe, is also on a bye. So he has to, and his Derrick Henry on a bye. So Connor heavily affected by buys this week. I have Michael winning this one. However, again, I'm not going to be shocked if Connor just beats him by 30. That's been Connor's team this year. Let's go to Jacob and Cam. Cam will need a quarterback, I guess, because Jared Goff's on a bye. We'll see where he goes there. I'm surprised he didn't pick up Carson Wentz, but we'll see where he goes from there. But yeah, I have Jacob winning this one just on pure, like, Tom Brady's playing Pittsburgh. Patty Mahomes is going to be in a shootout against the Bills. Cam's running backs have good matchups too. I still will go with Jacob here. I like Justin Jefferson matchup, and Kyle Pitts is just one of the biggest busts the last 3 years. I just can't believe how terrible he's playing, or how the Falcons haven't just incorporated him in the offense that much. But yeah, I have Jacob winning this one. This will be a good matchup. Look, all these are good matchups. I have Thomas and Finley here. Now, I am doing this after the Bears-Washington game, so we will see some points there. So, again, my bad. Just timing got away from me. But yeah, I think it's anyone's game. I mean, even with Montgomery getting 8.5 points, Nick Finley is still projected to outshine Thomas here, but just by a little bit. Thomas's quarterbacks have really good matchups, Denver and Seattle. But Finley got Deebo Samuel, and he has a Falcons matchup. I may go Finley on this one. I'm sorry, D-Bay. His matchups I think, favor me a little bit more. You are riding with the Denver defense, which is nice, but I don't think they will be as good as last week. I think Chargers have a better offense than the Colts, obviously. So I'll go with Finley on this one. And the last matchup being myself and Bobby, and this projection is correct. I think Bobby will score more than 130, and I don't think I'll score 122, because that's been my year. I only win by narrow margins, and I don't score over 120. Josh Allen will, again, be in a shootout against Kansas City. Cooper Rush against Philly will be an interesting matchup, so we'll see if he changes or if he continues to ride with them. I know Dak wants to play, but the Cowboys won't let him. Aaron Jones and Leonard Fournette have pretty tasty matchups, so that'll be good for him. His receivers, again, have also great matchups, maybe not Antonio or A.J. Brown. Tyler Higbee has a good matchup, and again, he's riding all Bills. He has Bills defense, 2 wide receivers, and the quarterback. So if Bills stink, I may walk out and get a win, but obviously that won't happen because the Bills always play the Chiefs tough. Because of that, I am playing Devin Singletary this week. We'll get to that. My quarterbacks don't have the best matchups. I mean, Carolina's a pretty decent matchup, but then Trevor Lawrence plays a now healthy Colts defense. So we'll see how that goes. Austin Eckler and Christian McCaffrey will probably be normal. Their matchups are just decent. Just seeing the rest of my team, I'm just going to have to go with Bobby on this one. I think Bobby wins by 20. I'll go with that. And that is your recap and forecast. Tune in to week 6, see how it all flows down, and I'll see you guys later.